gentlemen, a very good evening. I'm Deepti Sachdeva and you're watching a brand new episode of The Nation Wants to Know. The nation still wants to know what really happened. Has Vinesh Phogat been forced to retire? For those of you not very familiar, do remember in the wee hours of earlier today, you have seen Vinesh taking to the social media and saying, Mujhe maaf kar. मैंने retirement ले लिया है from wrestling, from a sport that she has lived, she has literally grown up with, remember. She was all of 9 years old, just 9 years, when she saw her father being shot down just in front of her house by a relative, again very, very close to the family. And then her mother was just about 32 and she ensured that all the sisters are brought up. Not just brought up, but they are allowed to play the sport that they ended up loving and that they ended up making the country proud in. We are talking of Vinesh Phogat. And when you talk of Vinesh Phogat, I think these images again are very, very iconic, but just a few images that we've been able to put forward. And we are asking the question that who has forced Vinesh Phogat to retire? That is what the nation wants to know this evening. Look at everything on your screens, images of trials, of tribulations, of going through surgeries, rigorous training, pressure, to that fantastic game, also where she ended up beating someone who was called the unbeatable. Everything that Vinesh has achieved on her own might. To this image that came in just about 24 hours earlier, Vinesh still is managing to smile. But if you, look closely at any of these pictures, you will realize that she has dark circles. She has cried all night because she does not know what happened. And then there are people in the country who are wanting to blame Vinesh. There are netas who are wanting to play politics on Vinesh. Why? Because they sense an opportunity. So to all those people, we are asking that who's accountable for, everything that she's gone through. Are these netas all who've ensured that Vinesh had to take this retirement? I want to take you through what she has said earlier as she's put out that entire tweet earlier this morning about her tweet. And if you also look at the entire sequence of events, remember, that really has gone in. What made Vinesh reach where she did? What happened during the last, those 10 to 12 hours? Remember, the change in weight is what a lot of people have been talking about. Vinesh Phogat's normal weight is 57 kilogram. Now, how did she really go in for a weight loss? How did she do that? It became very drastic. That has been a topic of conversation. She did not sleep even a minute is what, the team members who were accompanying her have told us, that because she realized that she had overshot that 50 kilogram weight, she wanted that weight to come down after those 3 bouts. She did not drink a sip of water. She did not have a morsel of food. She was literally exercising. She was in the sauna. She was doing everything possible to ensure that somehow this weight comes down. On Tuesday, her weight was 49.9 kilogram. And do remember, this is the time essentially when a lot of us were actually hoping that she's going to be playing for that gold and win that gold. We actually thought that gold is ours. No one expected something like this to happen. With just a small meal, what sources tell us is that her weight bounced to a 53 kilogram. Now, do remember the team of doctors who's been looking at Vinesh, who've been working closely. They said we did not expect this weight to go up so much after the kind of food and drinks that she had post those 3 successive bouts. And she also was keeping on using the sauna. She was all zipped up. Remember, it's a Paris weather. It's pretty hot there. And there came a moment where she just stopped sweating. That is where, people tell us that she realized it's all but over. But when did that, entire realization dawn in? Could anything have been done? Post the semi-final, her weight was 52.7 kilogram, way above the 50 kilogram mark. So you realize there was an excess of a 2.7 kilogram that had to be brought down. And when you look at the entire ordeal that she herself, has put her through, Vinesh Phogat made it to 50.1 kilogram just before the finals. But clearly, even this weight did not let her survive the Olympics. She standed to be disqualified. And as she has bid adieu now to her favorite sport, we have a lot of interesting, anecdotes coming forward. People from the sporting fraternity, people like you who've been watching the show, have been telling us that She makes such a fantastic role model. Now, this is a picture that if you look very closely is coming in from Abhinav Bindra. He himself is an Olympian. He himself has won gold medals, laurels for the country. He's standing just next to her. And again, this is a picture which, I zoomed closely to look at her and you realize that she has cried. You see all that stress really on her face. He takes a moment to, pen down this letter for Vinesh. It's a beautiful letter, and I would suggest all of you read this through also. I'll just take a moment to talk about the highlights. He says, "Dear Vinesh, it is said that sport is a celebration of human will. I have known that to be true many times in my career, but never has it resonated more than today." He says, "As I look around me, I see a nation and its people all celebrating you and your unyielding resolve." Then he tells Vinesh, "You are a fighter on and off the mat. Through you, we are learning what it means to never lose the fight in us, even as a loss weighs heavily. You embody that true spirit of a warrior." And it's a beautiful letter. We'll bring up the next, tweet also on our screens right now for you to look at this entire thing. Bajrang Punia, in fact, says, "Vinesh, aap hari nahi, haraya gaya hai." This is that same sabotage conspiracy angle that, you have a lot of people talking about. He says, "Hamare liye sadaiv aap vijeta hi rahengi. Aap Bharat ki beti ke saath saath Bharat ka abhiman bhi ho." This is in response to what Vinesh really had said. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is a story of a fighter who's still fighting, but a fighter who's decided to retire. And we on the broadcast are wanting to know, the nation wants to know, that who forced Vinesh to retire.
वो तो इतना अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस दे रही थी, वो प्रैक्टिस के उसमें है, पूरी जिम्मेदारी ये जाती है उनके कोच की, उनके जो सपोर्टिंग स्टाफ उनके साथ हैं, उनके कोच, उनके फिजियो, उनके न्यूट्रिनिस्ट। वो आज जो बिटिया गोल्ड के लिए लड़ने वाली थी, और उसको उनका तो पूरा ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि कहीं उसका कोई गड़बड़ी ना हो, लेकिन उन्होंने कहाँ से ये गड़बड़ी हो गई, कैसे इनका वजन बढ़ गया, इसकी जांच होनी चाहिए। और मैं तो भारत सरकार से मांग करता हूँ कि इन लोगों के खिलाफ सख्त से सख्त कार्रवाई हो, क्योंकि इन लोगों ने भारत की 140 करोड़ जनता के दिलों के साथ खेला है।
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this last response that you've just heard is coming in from a man called Sanjay. Sanjay Singh right now represents the WFI, the Wrestling Federation of India, that has been suspended by the government of India. And he, remember, is under a lot of question already because he is someone related to Brij Bhushan, the same Brij Bhushan against whom there have been serious allegations of sexual harassment. Let that sink in. Today, that man is sitting, speaking to cameras and telling us of what he believes possibly could have gone wrong. Now, even as you park that thought on a side, we here decided also to unravel, and a lot of you have been asking that when Vinesh travels, so when you have an athlete who's traveling, who really are the people along with Vinesh, who really are part of her support team? So on your screen, you get that question answered. We'll go with the left. You see Vola Rakos, the coach there. You see Ashwini Jeevan Patil, the physiotherapist. Shubham, who's again a part of the sparring partner. Then on the right is Wayne Patrick Lombard. And then you have Mayank and Arvind. So at least you have these three people, 6 people closely working with Vinesh, part of her core team. And a lot of these core team members, remember, have the job of only and only monitoring what's going on in terms of her weight, in terms of her diet, in terms of her sleep, in terms of any other assistant that she might require. Because clearly with all the athletes that go out and you are a part of this big contingent that has been sent by India, a lot of these support staff is there only to ensure that athletes do not face any kind of inconvenience, and also they are regularly monitored. But this also brings us to a lot of those unanswered questions that still remain. In spite of, us hearing a lot of responses that have come in both from the people in the sports ministry, from the Wrestling Federation, from the politicians, there are still these unanswered questions. You see the first one on your screens. Why is Vinesh fighting in a 50 kilogram weight category when her normal weight is 55 kilogram? A lot of you have asked this, that why did she do this? So we here on the show will tell you what happened. The second question, why give weight on 2 days when, weight can be given on 1 day just before your bout? She did that. So why did that happen for 2 days? Again, something we will discuss in a moment. If Vinesh made the weight on day 1, she did that. And that's exactly how she qualified for the game. What was the problem on day 2? What really changed, remember, between day 1 and day 2? That again is an unanswered question. This brings us to the next question that I've seen a lot of you asking and, tagging us also as we've built our entire coverage. Was someone in charge of Vinesh's weight management? Did someone actually monitor that what is she eating? What is she drinking? What is the kind of weight that creates? And is that weight healthy for Vinesh at this point of the game or not? This brings us to our next question again, that's up on your screens. Is there absolutely any possibility of a sabotage? Kya koi bhi chance hai that something has not worked because someone did not want something to work right? Conspiracy. We'll tell you also that. What has the IOA, that is the Indian Olympic Association, done so far? Do remember it's headed right now by PT Usha, the legendary PT Usha, who spoke to the Prime Minister just about yesterday. She's spoken to the media. But what has the IOA done in the case so far? Have they been able to put out any appeals? We'll tell you exactly in a moment. Was it an option to not go for the weight-in and just say that you are injured? Could that have also happened? At a point where a lot of you again been discussing, कि at least हम disqualify नहीं होते. Is there any way that this could have saved the day, saved at least the silver that she had won? We are not saying at any point that she should have faked an injury, but could anything else have also been done? This brings us to our next question. Could we have asked for more time since it was just a matter of 100 grams? Just that extra push, a little bit more time, a little bit more effort, and we could have seen that 100 gram just going away. Could that have happened? Lot of unanswered questions, but to answer all those questions and to answer a lot more that has happened at least in the last many hours. And we also must tell our panel of guests that even as we speak, there are reports coming in that the Court of Arbitration possibly could be looking at the entire case. When is the hearing expected to begin? Could that be any time soon? Could there be some reprieve? There is no clarity yet on that. But yes, Vinesh's appeal has been accepted by the Court of Arbitration. She's made this appeal to essentially say that I deserve the shared silver. So will she get a shared silver? We'll track that story, and I must tell all of you right now,